Welcome to the show. A very frantic Club Corbie today. Oh jeez, for a second there I thought I didn't have my pen. That would be a heck of a thing. The pen is very much required for this. It's Tuesday, the 9th of June, 2020. And on today's show, we are going to be continuing to work on page 16 in the Daily Comics Bib. So, if you were watching yesterday's show, then you will recall when we left off we were working on panel 4, which was Sadie. Panel 2 and panel 3 were blank at the time. But I did some work last night on starting to lay down some of the foundations for the second and third panels, plural. So as you can see, there's some rough elements filled in there. The backgrounds are somewhat filled in, and have some idea about what the characters are going to be, how they're going to be staged at least. So we're going to come back to those. But we're going to start off today by continuing to work on Sadie. As you can see, I haven't really done any, or not much more work on Sadie since the end of yesterday's stream. So we're just going to pick up from where we left off there. I'm going to bring the eye down a bit so that they're a little bit more even. And I might do the same with this ear as well. Kind of a bit of a frantic day today so far. I just managed to get settled down in front of my desk in the studio and grab lunch immediately before the show started. But what had happened was, I said on yesterday's show I was trying to, balance my Corbie related activities with other things that I need to do as well, and other things I wanted to do. And one of the things was I was going through my action figures and my Transformers specifically, but well, really all my action figures, and I wanted to take some time to do some photography. I just showcase some of the things that are in my collection, and I didn't really go much further other than me posting a picture of Crush from Hasbro WWF last night. By the time I got that set up and processed and everything, then it was getting dark, and I wanted to have the natural lighting in my photos. So, not that it gets very dark here in June, and I set up in the living room anyway. So there's there's plenty of light in there, but. Still in all, it was night was falling by that point, so I had to leave it for the rest of the evening. I went off into the... I've been all over the place. I was venturing into the loft several times. There's boxes full of toys and all kinds of junk in there. And into the Transformers room as well. Found a lot of toys in there, but not everything that I was looking for, sadly. And ended up picking up where I left off again this morning. And the whole experience has been kind of... I keep finding things that I forgot that I even owned. It's like, really, I have this? Sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a why did I spend money on this sort of way. But usually with Transformers, I'm glad that I have this. I didn't know that I have this, and it's a pleasant surprise. I do. But I was trying to find this morning. I was trying to find the parts for one of my Ultima Magnus toys. I bought. Would have been. I know it was 4 years ago now because I got the. That was why I was inspired to go get it, was because Google Alerts posted to me. It said, here's a photo you took 4 years ago today. So it was a toy that I purchased 4 years ago this week. So I ended up digging that toy out, only to discover that all the parts weren't there. So I had to go all the way around the house and try and find all of the parts that were missing. There was a leg panel and the 2 shoulder missiles and the gun. They were all in different places. They were all in different parts of the house, so I was starting to think that I was never going to find them. And fortunately, they all showed up. And the other challenge is toys have a way of collecting dust. And before I moved house, this was about 4 years ago, I ended up doing a deep clean on just about everybody. So most of my guys have been in storage. Well, not all of them, but a lot of my guys are still in storage from moving in 2016. I still have boxes everywhere full of Transformers that haven't gone back on display. But the old display setup from before I moved, I had everybody on display and they were continually dusty and continually gathering dust, and they all look like they've been walking through the desert or something. So anybody that you see, anybody that I'm taking photographs of, I'll put them up on Twitter over the next couple of days. But you know, everybody seems to still need to have a good deep clean before they are ready for their close-up. Okay, I still don't know about these. It's on the side here. I think I'm going to have to redo those. No, I think I went with I want to come out more at an angle like that. I hate these awkward angles. Sometimes you need to have multiple strokes like that, and then so you raise it, sort of meld them together into the angle that you want. And just take your time with it. There's a bit of trial and error involved there. Anyway, I think we need to go in and do the ball up fist next, because that is going to be an important part of the footage. I'm just going to start off drawing some really sort of scrappy lines here. And again, much like what I was just talking about with the hair, it's going to be a case of going in afterwards and refining it. It's all very sketchy. I've actually got my wooden hand for reference here that I'm looking at while I'm drawing that, but it's for the opposite hand, so it's only going to get me so far. There's all kinds of different tools that you can use to reference hands, because I know that it's an issue that a lot of people have. A lot of people find hands are one of the most difficult things to draw. And I've spoken about that in the past, but one of the issues with hands, I think, is that there's a lot of moving parts. Every digit can have so many. There's so many possible sort of configurations. So it's not like you can look at any one thing, any one reference that's necessarily going to be correct for what it is that you're trying to achieve. But obviously, one of the best references that you've got for hands, well, you've got two of them already, so you can use your own hands. It's very difficult if you have to say write with your right hand, or draw with your right hand, I should say, and reference it at the same time. That's the challenge. But you have, obviously you can look at your own hands and you can take photographs of your own hands. That's an option that you've got. You can get a wooden hand model, like the one that I keep at my desk. You can get all kinds of apps. There are apps for that allow you to sort of manipulate different parts of the human body, and there are even ones that are just dedicated to hand references that let you move a hand around in different poses. And as a matter of fact, you also have within Clip Studio Paint there are 3D modeling functions as well. Although I actually don't have them set up on here, funnily enough. I thought I did. I have that functionality set up on the Surface, not on my desktop computer. I just want to go click on it there. I was going to see if I could drag them in as an example to you. I don't think I've ever set them up on this computer. Okay, I gotta switch off this Jingle Bell music. What the heck? That's not even the first time that's happened where, you know, I'll get in the middle of a stream and then I get this Jingle Bell Christmas music coming on Pretzel. What do you think the odds are we'll be doing Club Corbie in December? And we'll never ever hear the Jingle Bell music. Or any kind of Christmas music. Yeah, the one limitation I would mention, by the way, about using like the wooden models, for example, is they're very good at figuring out things like the placement of fingers. They're not so good for a lot of things like, say, these little pockets of skin that are going to appear around sort of at the bend of the where the finger meets the palm here when it's curled up. Obviously, if you're using a wooden model, you're not going to get that sort of detail, so you need to make allowances for things like that as well. I keep going back and forth about how much I want the knuckles to be visible. I almost think it's too much, but okay, maybe if we just include it as like a faint line like that. No, I don't like that either. I think I'll just take them out. I almost wanted to see if I could just add in shadow and use the shadow there to suggest the knuckles, if that makes sense. You can see I'm really putting a lot of work into this hand, and I just think it's so important for this kind of dramatic shot in this final panel of the page for to get it right. I don't feel like it is right. I'm second guessing every single thing about it, in fact. Yeah, I hate it. I hate everything about it. I know this doesn't make for a very exciting stream, by the way, to watch someone draw a hand over and over again. Obviously we're spending a lot of time on this. Unfortunately, these are the realities of making a comic sometimes. It is, you know, it's not always like you power through and everything is perfect the first time. Sometimes this is what it's really like. It's you're spending hours just agonizing over one single thing. So okay, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the literally we're going to go back to the drawing board. I'm going to have another go at this. Okay, let's try this. Adding in the thumbnail there, which I normally wouldn't do, but I think that might help to just give us a little extra bit of detail. This ended up a little bit smaller here, but maybe that's for the best. Okay. And then that's some shading as well to just help define it. We don't usually do that this early on, but that might help. having the wristbands as well. Wristbands ended up being a design element that Sadie kind of picked up from me, actually. You might have noticed if you've ever seen any of the on-camera streams that we've done that I have two neon coloured wristbands I wear. Sadie has 4, so she kind of ended up taking that characteristic to extreme, but she has 4 different things that she's raising awareness of, because that's kind of the person that she is. Somebody who cares about a lot of different causes. And is very vocal about it. No, I think that was better before. Okay, I'm really not going to muck about with this too much. I'm going to try and resist the temptation, because it's one of those things. You take something a little bit too far, then you mess the whole thing up. Sometimes simple is better, and just being able to see the individual parts of the fist is more important than doing a lot of moody shading or anything like that. So. That being said, I think I will probably the cuffs of the cuff of the blazer up a little bit. Like that. Okay, I'm about done with it. I'm reasonably okay with how that turned out, so let's just leave that be. We're definitely not going to get much done today in terms of the other two panels. I think we're going to end up spending this entire stream just fixing up Sadie, which is kind of a disappointment, I suppose. At the same time, I feel like it's very important that I'm giving you a realistic demonstration about the things that can, well, I was going to say go wrong. Things can be a challenge, can be a hurdle in terms of making comics. Sometimes this stuff isn't straightforward. And usually a panel like this that has no background is a very simple sort of character illustration. It's going to be fairly straightforward compared to the other three panels that all have background details and multiple characters in them. Would be a lot more difficult, but again, there's tricky things, hands and drawing hands at certain angles can sometimes be a challenge, and also sometimes just require more of your time because you're trying to convey mood. An obvious cheat there would be I could just take Sadie's hand out of the equation. I could just not have the hand in. Well, it's not a cheat, it would just be a decision, I suppose, to take the hand out of the equation entirely, but it almost wouldn't be in the spirit of the original storyboard how I imagined envisioned this panel looking to begin with. So still got a lot of work to do. I'm just laying out some really awkward lines at the top. You're trying to figure out the placement of the top of Sadie's head, but that's very awkward looking. I think I need to erase those and start again there. So now, in fact, actually I think part of the problem is that the fringe is a little bit too big. In fact, it's quite a bit too big. It's much bigger than it. Okay, I've got the model sheet for Sadie on my second monitor. But I can see that it should really be more like that. And these lines pull up into the fringe like that. See, I don't know if I would go to this much trouble for any other character, with the possible exception of Corinne or Corbie, of course, but out of the supporting cast, I don't think there's any other character they get this much attention to being drawn correctly or ensuring that they were on model. Because, as you know, or you may know, I am definitely a Sadie booster, and she's definitely one of my favourite characters in the series. I've got to make sure she's done correctly, otherwise she might come get me. In between tearing down statues, I'm sure. Oh, she's definitely all about that kind of thing. That is definitely something that she would be a part of. So like Sadie would be the first person to say, let's get out there and let's tear these goddamn statues down. I'm gonna pull these the lowest parts of the hair down a little bit more. And so on the model sheet they just come down to shoulder length. I'd like to have them a little bit longer. I'm going to use the line tool here and just thicken up this section of the hair a little bit as well. And you know, it's funny, in terms of the proportions of the hair and getting the shape and the size of it right, the very rough, you know, the storyboard sketch, it looks like it's the hair, the peak of the hair is about the right place, maybe just slightly lower than it needs to be, but almost correct. That's a surprise considering, you know, there wasn't that much thought put into it. I can say that for sure. Of course, we still need to work a lot on refining it, just getting the shape of it just right. In actual fact, that needs to come out a bit further out to here. what I'm trying to do here is really get that sort of swoop of the hair where it kind of flows out at the bottom. It was very narrow before, so I'm going to fix that up. In actual fact, I think what I need to do is pull out this side as well, because I kind of think that that one needs to be the first of the three sort of spikes of hair that come out, that if you're at the bottom where it terminates. To use a somewhat technical term. But this has been a journey, and we're not done yet, because we still have to draw, say, these glasses and some of the details on her school uniform. I can't believe how long this has taken. This has been crazy. We started this on yesterday's stream, and we're still going. Just as one panel. But you know, you kind of get a sense of satisfaction because we had so many challenges earlier on with getting the fist right, and we've gradually fixed up so much of this. And built this up really out of nothing. If you think about it, we started with this really crude fill-ins, a storyboard panel, just to get the idea of what it was going to look like, and we're most of the way there. thinking that lower end of the frames up a little bit, but lower curve, I guess you could say. And the upper one, I think it's positioned a bit level, but I think the angle might be a little bit off. I just think that the frame of the glasses might be a bit too thick, so now I'm starting to shave it down a little bit. Shave them down a little bit, I should say. how frustrated you have to be to agonise over the exact position of the lapel details. But here we are. Guys, I think that is just about as far as CD goes. We can, we can always reference the image. Why was that circle? Yeah, anti-aliasing was on. Switch it off. We'll do it again. That'll do. Okay. For some reason, lines on the back of the hair on one side don't match up with the other side. That's going to be the last thing. I don't like it. That's what I always say is it's been hours agonizing over this stuff, and then what's going to happen is it's going to go up on social media, and at best it's going to get 2 or 3 likes, literally 2 or 3 likes, and then we'll never speak of it again. It'll be forgotten forever, and yeah, that's kind of frustrating actually. Okay, let's not dwell on that, because that's it doesn't bear thinking about. I think I just kind of bummed myself out here. Couple of hello. Okay, I think we can switch off. Where's our see, I never named my layers. I should name the layers. There we go. Okay. Does not look a lot better now with the grey background removed. We can actually sort of appreciate all of the work that's gone into this today. And you know, there's still more to be done. There's always more work to be done, but I'll have to add shading to this at some point and just really make it pop as well. The other thing is the strand of hair that comes up on the left and the strand that comes up on the right. You can see there's a bit more real estate, a bit more of a gap there. So I'm still leave just a few pixels in right at the top if you need to correct the line like that. And then you know where the original placement was. Now we've got a bit more of an even gap on either side, so I feel a lot better about that. I'm just making tiny revisions now because we're almost at the end of the stream. It doesn't make a lot of sense for us to go and start work on panels 3 and 4 now. We may as well just tweak some things here and there. I'll pull this line up because again it's a little bit low to look around compared to the other side, compared to the left side. The right side, the fringe starts to droop a little bit. In fact, we could just punch up the lines of the fringe just a little bit. I'm almost approaching this the way that I would if we were doing like a pin-up image now or something, which is not ideal because you know, normally I try to say with these daily strips that we've been doing, speed is more important than quibbling about details or adding in excessive details. We're trying to create an image that is really flashy. Because like I said, it's not going to, it's going to be something for quick consumption and people are going to look at it and then they'll move on. So I always try to do the best that I can in terms of the artwork that I produce, but there's also an element of, or there should be an element of, the quality of the work that the quality of your output should, I think, reflect what it is that you're creating the work for. What I mean by that is, we're not creating something that's going to be hanging on a wall. We're creating something that, like I said, is fairly ephemeral in a way with the daily strips, and I'm still calling them the daily strips, by the way, in spite of the fact that I don't know if it's going to be a daily schedule, but anyway. There's also an element of, and I think about this a lot, what you are capable of versus what you choose to do. When I started out working on Corbie and I did that first issue, and it was very ambitious in terms of, you know, everybody had a much more realistic look to them in terms of the style and the design of the characters. And the scope of the comic was a lot more ambitious visually. And I had to rein it in because it was too time intensive. And just that first issue, I struggled through it, and it took me many months, in fact I think it took most of 2017 just to draw the first issue, and I had to, I was basically halfway through the script, and I had to say that this is the end of issue 1. The halfway point ended up being the end of issue 1 because I had to draw a line under it, figuratively speaking. I had to say, this is taking too long, this style isn't working, and so, you know, the decision was made to switch to the new style. And I just noticed that when I thinned down Sadie's neck here, it ended up being off to one side. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do about that? Okay, that is a problem. But this kind of goes back to, I think, a lot about self-worth as an artist and your self-perception as an artist, and the work that I'm doing here on these pages for Corbie isn't necessarily reflective of what I'm capable of. I know that I could do work that's a lot more ambitious, and I've done it in the past. I've done, well, it's like to a lot of people, unless you're doing something that's ultra realistic and ultra detailed, they don't value the work, if you see what I mean. If I were to, if I was doing Club Corbie and I was hand painting an illustration of Commander of Sadie or any character, and it was, an absolutely realistic hand painted rendition of the character, and naturalistic, and they looked like a real person come to life on the canvas, then to a lot of people that would have more perceived value. But You know, imagine trying to do that hundreds of times for a comic. So, and if you're doing the comic all by yourself, then that's even more challenging. You have to as an artist, you have to adapt to the demands of the work as well. That's part of being an effective artist, not just being able to draw in a way that wows people. And it's something that I've really struggled with, because as you can see just from what we've been doing today, you know, I really agonise over every single pen stroke, and I really want everything to just be perfect, and everything isn't always going to be perfect, and because of the demands of doing a comic like this, you can't get hung up about everything being perfect. Anyway, can't get hung up about everything being perfect, he says as he goes and falls off this pen stroke just to have it line up a little bit. Yeah, no, see that's too thin. It's the worst thing as an artist to have a perfectionistic streak. I'm the kind of person who will put off vacuuming the floor forever, and then when I do go to vacuum the floor, I want to get every single speck of dirt off the floor, you know? When I'm in the act of doing something, I hate to feel like I've left things unfinished. And again, a lot of it is just about wanting to do the best job that you can. Anyway, I could continue to agonise over this panel. In all likelihood, what's going to happen is I'll continue to refine it a little bit once we do the inking stage. I think that's what's going to happen. There's always room for improvement, but we've come a long way today in terms of where we started off with this panel, and we still have two other panels that we barely even scratched the surface of yet. So on tomorrow's stream, we're going to go back over it. We're going to do panel 2, and hopefully if we don't end up agonising about it too much, we'll do panel 3 as well. Panel 2 we've already started to work on. You see, like, the rough outline for Sadie's art is already in there. That doesn't need too much more work, so the main thing is we've got to get Mona and Orly into that panel, and then Mona and Sadie and some other background people in panel 3, and that's gonna be most of the kind of work done. We've ended up taking our time over this one. Again, I would rather be able to power through, but I'd also rather do a good job and have some art that I am happy with. Anyway, that's almost 4 o'clock, so I think we're going to wrap it up there. And why does Sadie have one eyebrow that is bigger than the other? Oh, I could do this all day. I could just pick over everything until you end up with a really clinically 100% symmetrical, accurate illustration, which is not what you want to do. You got to, like I said, you need to concentrate when you're working with a project like this on being fast, not perfect. But anyway, I hope this has been an enjoyable and an educational stream as well. We've talked a lot about different aspects of the art process. You know, some days I'm not as talkative as I'd like to be, and sometimes it's just because I'm that wrapped up in the task at hand, and other days I'm a bit more talkative like today, and I have a lot in my mind about how this whole process unfolds. But I hope this has been an enjoyable stream for you. It has been for me. I've had a good time today on today's show. Just working on this art of Sadie, even though it's not perfect, it's come a long way from where we started. So I hope that you'll join me for Club Corbie tomorrow on the Wednesday show, and we'll do those panels, the PAL 2 and hopefully panel 3 as well, or at least get started on it. As always, if you want to support the stream, it's ko-fi.com/Corbie, streamlabs.com/Corinne Morgan Corbie. You can follow us on Instagram at ReadCMC, on Twitter for the Corbie account at ReadCMC. My personal Twitter account is at John Porter CMC, which is sometimes I talk about Corbie in there, but mostly it's you'll find other things. It'll be me talking about old wrestling matches or Transformer stuff, mostly Transformer stuff nowadays, to be honest with you. But if you want to see more personal stuff from me, you can find me on there as well. Or if you just want to say hello, you know where to find me. Where else? We're on Twitch, obviously. We're on Periscope. We're on where am I missing? YouTube. We're on YouTube. John Porter CMC on YouTube, and I'm gonna try and get that video up that I've been working on since September as well at some point. So there's a lot going on, and I'm trying to juggle it all. But for now, I want to thank you all, the core believers, the people who tune in every day, or the people who just tune in now and again, or if this is your first time. You're all part of the club, and I value you all. I really think it's a small movement that we've got, you know, as far as Corbie goes, and I do call you all the Corbie leavers. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I want to thank you for continuing to turn out and supporting in any way that you can this comic. And we're going to get there. We're going to get this series up. I don't know how long it's going to take us, but eventually we'll get this next series of adventures up for you to read and enjoy. But for now, I want to thank you, and I hope to see you on tomorrow's Club Corbie.